Okay.
Good evening. I would like to call the April 11, 2016 Bellbrook City Council meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Edwards?
Here.
Mr. Greenwood?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Here.
Mrs. Seeger-Lawson?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Schweller?
Here.
Mayor Baird?
Here. Formal approval of the City Council work session and regular meeting minutes of March 28, 2016. Does any member on council have any corrections or additions to the regular City Council meeting minutes?
None, Mayor.
Seeing none, the minutes are approved as written. Mayor's announcements. We have one job to do this evening. We have Mr. Neff here. He is going to be our last appointee on our boards, and all of our boards will be filled. So, Mr. Neff, thank you very much for volunteering for the museum board. And Mr. Neff, if you'll come up, we will swear you in. Now, I'd once again like to thank him for his service. It's very nice to have all the boards filled up for a change. We have a lot more boards than people think. So if you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Arthur D. Neff,
I, Arthur D. Neff,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and will obey
and will obey
the laws thereof,
obey the laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
in all respects,
in all respects,
uphold and enforce
uphold and enforce
the provisions
the provisions
of the Charter
of the Charter
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of Bellbrook,
of Bellbrook,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
the office upon
the office upon
which I'm about to enter.
which I am about to enter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And may I have a signature and Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you again for volunteering.
Thank you.
And that is all I have for mayor's announcements this evening. Public hearing of ordinances. This is ordinance number 2016. Myself and I believe Donna Seeger-Lawson are going to recuse ourselves. So Mr. Schweller will take over this public hearing, and we will
Be back short.
be back shortly.
Thank you. Ordinance 2016-4, Councilwoman Middlestetter.
Thank you, Mr. Schweller. Ordinance number 2016-4, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for electric generation supply with a competitive retail electric service provider. Whereas the city is one of 24 municipalities currently participating in the Miami Valley Communications Council, MVCC, electric generation supply agreement with DPL Energy Resources, Inc., DPLER, for the provision of electric generation and transmission supply services through December 31, 2016, collectively referred to as the participating municipalities. And whereas, in accordance with the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio rules and regulations, the participating municipalities have the opportunity to maximize savings on the generation and transmission portion of their electric service costs through the selection of a competitive retail electric service provider. And whereas the participating municipalities desire to seek competitive pricing for a new electric generation and transmission supply service agreement for municipal accounts, and whereas the participating municipalities desire to authorize MVCC and its executive director to act as procuring agents, along with any consultant utilized by MCVV, collectively the procuring agents, to seek competitive pricing for electric generation and transmission supply services. And whereas the participating municipalities desire to authorize their respective city managers to enter into a new agreement with the lowest and best competitive supplier after the procuring agents have identified and recommended such supplier. And whereas the city is authorized as a charter municipality to exercise all powers of local self-government. Now, therefore, the city of Bellbrook hereby ordains, Section 1, that MVCC and its executive director, along with any consultant utilized by MVCC, are hereby authorized to act as procuring agents to identify a competitive retail electric service provider for electric generation and transmission supply services. However, nothing in this ordinance shall authorize such procuring agents to contractually bind the city to accept or enter into an agreement with any such provider or to otherwise bind the city. Section 2, that the city manager is hereby authorized to execute an agreement and any other necessary documents on behalf of the city for electric generation and transmission supply services with a competitive retail electric service provider. Section 3, that it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this city council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any committees that resulted in those formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period provided by law.
Yes, this ordinance will allow the city to jointly purchase electric with, at this point, our previous contract was with 24 other municipalities. Right now, as of this morning, there's 29 other committed municipalities that are part of this. Our current rate for this is just over 5 cents per kilowatt hour. The hope is that given the current state of the electric market, maybe we can get a better rate locked in for a 3-year period. But with the passage of this will allow me to execute any documents that are necessary when the time comes. It allows the joint group to get better purchasing price because they know that they can act quickly and the market won't change in the meantime. So if you have any questions.
When does it start?
January 1st of 2017. Our current one expires at the end of this year.
And how many years was it for, Mark? Possible?
Last time it was for 3 years, so it's
Okay.
probably up to 3 years. And I think the last time, at one point, we did an amendment and extended it for another year, so there's some possibilities to do that too. But I think the base agreement will be probably for 3 years.
Gotcha. Okay.
Given this is a public hearing, at this time I'd like to open up to any commentary or input from the public. For those watching at home, there's no one in the audience tonight, so. Any more comments on council?
None, Deputy Mayor Schweller.
No,
Thank you.
not at all.
We have a motion?
I move that we accept Resolution 2016 Ordinance 2016-4.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mrs. Middlestetter to adopt ordinance number 2016-4, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for electric generation supply with a competitive retail electric service provider, seconded by Mr. Martin. Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schweller?
Yes. We can bring them back if you want.
Thank you. Moving on, we have one resolution this evening, Resolution 2016-M. Mr. Schweller.
Yes, Mayor, Resolution 2016-M, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign an agreement with the Greene County Engineers Office for the collective paving program of 2016. Whereas the city of Bellbrook desires to participate with the Greene County engineer in the competitive bid contract for the collective paving program for 2016 as bid by the Greene County engineer. Now therefore, the City of Bellbrook hereby resolves, Section 1, that the city manager is hereby authorized to sign the attached agreement with the Greene County Engineers Office. And Section 2, this resolution shall take effect and be enforced forthwith. Attached to the ordinance is agreement between the City of Bellbrook and the Greene County Engineer, and this is very similar to what we've had in prior years. And anything else to add to it, Mark? This is obviously our annual repaving program.
Annual repaving, they did actually open bids here in the last couple of weeks. The streets that we're going to do this year are Sugar Run Trail, Shadow Leaf, and North Linda from North Bellevue over to Sugar Run, and then the cul-de-sacs that are back in that area there. So we had budgeted $150,000. The bid, low bid from John R. Jerkinson, who's done our program for many years, was just over $130,000. So it came in well under budget. So. And those streets are pretty much ready to go at any time. What we'll do is wait till school's out, and when school's out, we'll let the contractor know they can come in and do those at any time. So what this will do is authorize that. It was pointed out there are a couple references in the contract itself to villages in the last whereas. We'll get those corrected before it's signed. But with that, we'll get this to the county engineer, and we'll be ready to go whenever the contractor is ready.
Any questions regarding this? I always like it when we go together and use economics of scale to get cheaper prices.
Mark, the fact that it was under our budgeted amount a little bit, that's never a bad thing. It's always good. Are there any other little extra projects that we would kind of have on our like-to-do list that might fit under that number?
I've asked Dale for that because the contractor has been very good over the past. We've been able to add on, if there's something that's happened over the winter maybe that's really fallen apart that wasn't quite on the radar screen at the time.
Right.
So we're evaluating that now, and they'll come in and they'll generally honor their bid prices for that. So there's a couple streets that we'll probably look at and see if we can add it in, or if they need it now, or if they'll wait till next year. But yeah, there is some flexibility to do that. So we'll evaluate that between now and the time the contractor gets here.
Great.
I came, go ahead. I came down Possum Run the other day, and
Yeah, I agree. It was
That-
bad.
Which section?
the
big
part from
section.
Clio to.
That's next year.
Next
Okay.
year.
Yeah. Yes, that's a pretty big section to do there.
Yeah.
And
But
it
it's
would
pretty
certainly
big.
take more than $20,000 to do, but.
But it keeps your speed in check.
Homemade speed bumps.
It's actually, that's a concern. We're gonna have to look at that,
Yeah.
because once you pave it, then
Yeah.
yes, the
Speeds
speed
go
will potentially increase. So, but that's the section that we're proposing to do in 2017.
Okay.
My neighborhood is the one that you just talked about that we're planning on doing this year. And some of the neighbors have been asking about the lip that goes from the driveway to the street. Is that city responsibility? Because some of them are pretty banged up because of snow plows and such.
You mean for their driveways?
Yeah, it's like the apron or whatever they call
Yeah,
it. that
yeah, no,
goes-
those are their
concrete.
responsibility. The concrete aprons are property owner's
Property
responsibility,
owner's
yes.
responsibility,
Yeah.
okay.
So.
Do we have any other questions? If not, may I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2016-M?
I'd like to move the adoption of resolution 2016-M.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Motion by Mr. Schweller to adopt Resolution 2016-M, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign an agreement with the Greene County Engineers Office for the collective paving program for 2016, seconded by Mrs. Middlestetter. Mr. Schweller?
Yes.
Mrs. Middlestetter?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Greenwood?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Seeger Lawson?
Yes.
Mayor Baird?
Yes. Moving on, that is it for resolutions, and we do have a city manager's report.
Yes, first quarterly financial report, I will get that to council here later this week. I was out last week, so we'll get that. I was working on that here this evening, so we'll get that done and get that out to you shortly. The newsletter, everyone should have received their newsletter in the mail here as we continue to update the look and with the new logo and some other things there, but that has been out in the mail. In that is all the information about the Sugar Maple Festival coming up April 22nd through the 24th. Starting on Friday night, 6 to 9 is the dog show, and then the food vendors and the craft beer garden will be open on Friday night from 6 to 9. Saturday, 10:30 is the parade. It's an hour earlier than it has been in the past. And then from 10 to 7, the craft and food vendors are open, and from 6 to 9, there's the beer garden, and there's some live music. There's live music on both Friday and Saturday night with the beer garden, and then Sunday, the hours are 11 to 5. And then also, during that time, if you haven't had a chance, the Bellbrook Museum is open during those days. We'd encourage anyone to just stop in there. There's a lot of interesting artifacts in there that you might learn something about the history of Bellbrook. The water quality report is now available on the website. In the past, we were required to mail that to everyone. We're not anymore. We put a notice on the invoices as they get them, but it is available on the website, or if somebody wants it, they can call in and we'll mail them a copy of it, but we don't print and mail the 3,000 or 4,000 of them anymore. The 2015 financial audit started today. The auditors showed up today, and they'll be here for a few weeks or months, however long that takes to complete that, but they are here and we'll get that done. The target is to have that done a little earlier than we've had in the past, so hopefully by June, July, have that done instead of October, November. So that's the goal. We'll see. And then
Same as prior years.
yeah, exactly. Then lastly, a couple meetings ago, the residents of Highview Terrace were here. There is the public hearing tomorrow night for the revised preliminary plan for Highview Terrace. That's at 6 p.m. right here in council chambers. All of those residents received a notice of that, but if anyone's watching, it will be tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. The planning board will hear that, and then depending on the action that planning board takes, that'll come before council here at future meetings. That is all I have this evening.
Does anyone have any questions for our city manager? Seeing none, we'll move to committee reports. Service?
Yes, I received a service report from Dale Wilson. I received this on Thursday, so it doesn't count the last snow event that we had on Saturday. So we are currently transitioning from winter operations into summer operations with smiles on our faces. Here are the statistics for 2015-16 snow removal. 12 recorded events, probably 13. 2,291 miles driven, 497 gallons of fuel, 83.5 hours of regular time, 148 hours of overtime, 209 tons of salt used. We also sold some salt to the school district. Right now, we are currently 90% full as far as the salt shed goes. We have one more order to bring it to capacity to start the 2016 season. Currently in the process of cleaning up property on Ridgeway Road around the 2 water standpipes. We have removed old shed that was in poor condition. We will also perform tree work followed by replacing the fence that has become an eyesore. Pretty sure residents in the neighborhood will appreciate us sprucing up the property. The water meter upgrade program is nearing completion. We have only about 50 out of approximately 4,000 meters left to upgrade. The remaining meters are located inside residents' homes, so they're taking some time to set appointments to make those upgrades. The rehabilitation of the culvert tile on Marcia Drive just north of Beechwood has been completed. The project consisted of spot repairs of the corrugated steel, lining the pipe with steel mesh, and coating with concrete sprayed under pressure. We are very pleased with the result and expect to get 30+ years of service from this product. We've taken delivery of the replacement box truck that was in this year's budget. The truck will be used for heavy water system maintenance. This includes water main breaks, fire hydrant repairs, and replacements, along with several other functions. We will begin fabrication of custom shelving for the truck prior to it being placed in service. During the high wind event last Saturday, we received 3 calls for fallen trees that blocked roadways. However, we did have many power surges and eventually lost power at the Sackett Wright and Washington Mill well fields. We utilized our newly acquired generator to power both well fields for 15 hours. There was additional damage of electrical components that have now been repaired, and we're back to normal operation by Wednesday afternoon. So due to our preparedness, we were able to provide uninterrupted service. So
Great.
that's it. Thank you, Dale, for that report.
Thanks, Dale. Anything else from service? You would like to add anything?
No.
Safety,
No report tonight.
finance and audit.
Mayor, nothing to report this evening.
When's tax day?
The 18th,
That's why.
week from
that's why I
tonight.
asked.
We, yeah.
So for those of you who are procrastinating like myself, you have till Monday.
Exactly.
Community fairs.
Nothing more other than just remember sugar maple and be prepared for the traffic detours. And come down and have fun.
And we'll move on to old business. Does anyone have any old business to come before us this evening? Do we have any new business? Open discussion.
I don't have anything tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Forrest?
I just got a question for Mark. Parking in the old village, after hours, you know, like after 4 or 5, there's a lot of businesses where we have a lot of people coming into town. At some point, I'd almost say we have more at night than we do during the day for the businesses. I know some on council talked about, you know, trying to utilize maybe some of the city parking, possibly, you know, with signage after a certain hour, public parking. Is that something we could maybe work out, or
What specifically, or what
like in
we,
the service department, you've got, like the cafe gets a lot of parking, and the dance academy, I mean, that whole area just fills up. The, down here, I know this parking used to be marked public parking, it's not now. I don't know if people realize.
Yeah.
It's public now.
it's still, it hasn't changed, it's
Yeah.
still public parking, so some people realize it, and I'm sure for McIntoshes, some people will use that. The service garage, we just have to be careful, because if we mark that public and then there's a snow event, or there's a water main break, and then somebody's blocked something there that they shouldn't have, and we still need to have access to that, but I think we
Well,
could.
I mean, if they just utilize the
If
space.
right, if they utilize it correctly, then we're fine, but if they decide that, oh, well, no one's here, and they want to park differently, then we could have problems, but we could do that, yeah, we can certainly look at that, I mean,
I
those
mean,
are,
I'm just asking if, you know, if it is.
they're, right now, I mean, even those spots by the service garage, those are public spots, I mean, somebody could park there even during the day if they wanted, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
but I
always.
mean, right now, I think,
No, they're marked-
they're marked authorized vehicles only.
Okay.
So I mean,
I'll have to look at that and see, okay, we'll see, or if we, you know, we can,
Could be certain ones.
The city
Maybe.
building's probably one that'd be used more
right.
here,
I mean,
and that is public parking now, other than you have the 15-minute only parking, so you might put, it already has on that before.
Yeah,
After 5.
Yeah, the one or
Yeah.
two spots out front say after 4, but I mean, I think where Forrest is coming from, and I agree with you, I think some people know that, but plenty of people don't.
Right.
And so just to have a sign to make it clear, you know, public parking, I think might be worth doing.
You know, the patrons across the street, they park all the way down to the post office and fill it up.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
And that's great for the city, but, you know, if we can help alleviate some of that.
yeah, we'll have to look at what
Just whatever's
signage
safe and
options
whatever, you
we have, but this area is difficult, because there's not really many places to put a sign, but,
Or maybe just
but we
something in the
can,
next newsletter, just,
yeah,
did you know,
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. no,
Yeah, I
that's-
think a lot of people are kind of afraid, you know.
Well, particularly when they see the
Maybe-
police cars and stuff like that.
Right.
they probably-
Yeah, the last thing I want to do is park beside a police car illegally.
Just makes it easy for them, yeah,
Coming from McIntoshes.
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
but you know, if you don't come down to the city very much, it's almost every night, the businesses do great.
Wednesday nights are always really busy,
Yeah.
and Fridays really, really busy, Saturdays busy.
And the tutor, where they do the tutoring, I mean, that's just unbelievable. And that's great. I like to see
That's
it.
a good problem to have.
That's a
Yes,
good
it
problem to
is.
have.
Well, what we can do is we can look at signage, and like over at the service department, if it makes sense to maybe change the signage a little bit, and then put something in the newsletter, you know, sort of a did you know that, you know, after hours, I mean, they could park here anytime, it doesn't have to be after hours, so it's public parking. There's not many times, there's several times that I get back here from a meeting or something, and I've got to go find another parking spot. So depending on what's going on at the firehouse and here, and
Sure.
what time of day, that it's sometimes limited, but we'll see what we can do to make people aware of it.
We gotta make that new logo fit.
There.
Yeah.
Anything else for us?
That's it, thanks.
Yep.
Just congratulations to, no,
Color Garden?
I don't know about that. I was on the service, Dale.
Oh, Dale.
And the good job he's done for the year,
Yeah.
managing things so well, and being
Yes.
prepared and right on top of things. I think that's great.
Yeah, it was a mild winter, but they were
Yeah,
they
but
were
I
there
mean,
when
just
they,
being
when,
prepared
yeah,
for
yeah, that's,
several things that happened,
yes,
got us, kept us in service.
yes.
Good job.
Yep. I agree, good job to the service department.
Mr. Weller?
Mayor, I just wanted to compliment the city manager and staff on this newsletter. This has been out there for a while, and it seems like every edition is better than the one before it. both in content. It was never a bad publication, but just even in presentation, this looks real
Yeah.
professional, and you've done a great job in trying to spruce this thing up. And it's read by a lot of people and relied upon by a lot of people, so they expect it, and now they're using it as part of their way to best, live in the city. So, good job.
And Don Buchek, the assistant, he deserves all the credit for that. He
Yeah.
takes a lot of time and a lot of design, and here in the next week or so, our new website will be, and it'll have the same look and feel and that same professional look. Again, not that there's anything wrong with our current one, but I think you'll find when our new website is operational that its navigation is even easier, and it incorporates the new logo and the color schemes and things like that, and it's just a more consistent look and feel that we have.
This
So.
is great.
Yeah, the citizens like it, and they're using it for a lot of useful information and good content, and I'm seeing a lot of people are starting to keep it around instead of just getting the news and the mail and
Yep.
trash, and it kind of sits around a little bit, so it's been good, so good job. Tell
Yes.
Don, thanks.
Well, Don, yes, he does a
Done
great
well.
job with that.
Could I add something back that I forgot?
Sure.
A lot of organizations don't know the Chamber of Commerce calendar is open for any organization who's having an event or scheduling something, and they're sort of
Yep.
trying to make it the community calendar, so that if you want to schedule something, you want to check and see if another organization has something going on at the same time. Just contact the Chamber of Commerce to post your event. And as more people know this, it should become a community resource for knowing when things are going to happen, and they can even link to other websites for details. So just get that information out there.
Anything else?
Yep.
I have nothing this evening. Louis?
I'm Louis Schatzberg. I live at 4082 Ridgetop Drive. Good job on recap of the Sugar Maple Festival, Mark. Left out one minor detail. Parking up at the intermediate school. We will be stopping it at 5 p.m. on Saturday. And on Sunday we'll be running during the festival time. But that was a new thing that with the new activities and stuff this year that they've added, we're stopping the shuttles earlier on Saturday than we have in the past. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good festival, and I always have fun with it up there. And it's a lot of fun transporting people back and forth. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Louis. That's all I have. Does any other member on council have anything to come before us this evening?
No, ma'am.
Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.